With the NBA play-in kicking off, the Boston Celtics have still yet to know who they are going to play in the first round. And with some tough matchups coming through in that 7 and 8 seed, this could change everything for this Boston Celtics squad, who's once again looking to get to that promised land of winning an NBA title as they are the defending champions and looking for banner 19. So in this video today, we're going to dive in and look at the two potential matchups for this Boston Celtics team and going over what to expect with those two clubs coming into Boston, who is also looking to go on that quest as well. I'm Bruce Velez with my co-host Patrick Billings. And Patrick, once again, we got some fun videos, and now I feel like it's getting interesting with this Celtics squad now that we're getting into playoff season. Don't you think?
Yeah, it's definitely gonna start getting a little bit more fun, Bruce, but, we gotta wait a whole week till game 1, so, I think that benefits the Celtics in a couple of ways, but, I'm excited to see what we got here.
100%. I'm excited to see what we got. Let's dive into it, guys. Without further ado, we're going to get into all of this news. And first, we're going to go over who the Celtics can play. And unless you've been living under a rock, I think you kind of really know who the Celtics should be playing in these matchups. But Patrick, obviously, as we can see, here is the playoff bracket for the NBA playoffs. You see the Celtics in that bottom side there at this 2 seed. They are waiting to play the 7-8 matchup, which is between the Atlanta Hawks and the Orlando Magic. Now, the Hawks and the Magic have had some good runs against this Celtics team, and we'll dive into that in a little bit when we go to kind of dive in what to expect from these teams. But overall, looking at this matchup between the Hawks and the Magic, I think it's going to be a clash. Obviously, the winner of this game is technically the best team out of the Southeast, which is kind of crazy as well in that division. And I think both of them could give the Celtics a good matchup, even if the Celtics do take care of it at the end.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this matchup can kinda just be a little bit 50-50 for the Hawks and the Magic, just because of Trae Young. I mean, we've seen what he's been able to do, but the Magic got some guys with Franz Wagner and, Paolo Banchero who are absolutely carrying and some young guys that are gonna give the Celtics problems for years, as they already have in the past. Like I've talked about, that I don't like when the Celtics play the Magic because apparently we just match up just terribly with them sometimes, but, I mean, come playoff time, if the Celtics end up playing the Magic, I mean, I wouldn't be too worried, regardless. I mean, they should be able to make easy work of either of these teams.
Yeah, I agree. I think the Celtics should be sitting comfortable in this first round here. But I do think, like you mentioned, that both of these teams kind of give a little bit of a different matchup for the Boston Celtics. And ultimately, in this matchup themselves, like you said, I do truly do think it's a 50-50 toss up. The Hawks being obviously a more predominantly offensive team with Trae Young, like you mentioned. The Orlando Magic team have Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner, who are dominant on the offensive side, but known as a team defensive unit. So it's nice to see that them kind of combat against each other. I'm really excited to see that. And Patrick, next, we're going to dive into and talk about what we can expect from each of these teams here as well. And drop down below in the comment section who you guys think is going to win that game. Patrick and I will get into that just in a little bit. But we see from the Celtics in these matchups here versus the Magic and the Hawks that they have not done the greatest. We saw them this season versus the Magic go 1-2, and very similar versus the Atlanta Hawks 1-2 with a very stinging game there in the NBA Cup that had the Celtics missing that tournament. Was for the best of the Celtics to get that rest, but clearly both of these teams are going to come in hot and hungry with a little bit of an advantage as well, leading those season records versus these Boston Celtics.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of just just goes at what I was just talking about with both of these teams. I mean, I would be worried like in the season against any of these teams just because of Trey, like all the guys that I said. But the Magic are not gonna have Jalen Suggs for this, so their defense is a little bit lacking in that like perspective. But with the Hawks too, I mean, you really just have to worry about that playoff Trey Young. He's almost like a playoff Jimmy Butler type of guy because we've seen what he's done to the Knicks and many other teams. I mean, he made the conference finals, like so he knows what to expect. But again, I mean, the Celtics obviously not playing the best basketball against either of these teams. I mean, the last one against the Magic, Celtics weren't really playing anybody.
Yes.
Well, I guess we could kind of say it's a 1-1 on the season for that one, a little bit of a wash. The other two a little bit earlier in the season, but I mean, the Celtics got to come ready for either of these teams. They can't play down to their competition like we've seen many times in the past, regardless of what Celtics team it is. It's going to be interesting for sure.
100%. And we've seen the Celtics take on the Atlanta Hawks in the past. We recently saw them in a playoff series a couple seasons ago in the first round, which they gave the Celtics a little bit to deal with in the later end of that series there. So I think the Hawks would definitely be an interesting landscape. Like you said, they bring that offensive power with Trae Young. They don't have Jalen Johnson, of course, but they do have that new rookie, Zachary Rizache, Dyson Daniels, who's been really good on the defensive floor. And I was at one of the games that they played the Atlanta Hawks this season. And unfortunately, they fell short versus this Atlanta Hawks team in the game that I did go and see them play. So once again, with this Atlanta Hawks team, I think not that they would give the Celtics any much trouble. I think it would be around a like 5 game series and stuff like that, similar with the Magic. But the Magic got that impactful defense. You mentioned Jalen Suggs missing out, but Paolo Banchero, Franz Wagner, they've been pretty dominant. And I was maybe a little bit high on this Orlando Magic team. I thought they could have been really dominant in this Eastern Conference because they do give the Celtics some problems and they match up pretty well against some of the teams. But the injuries kind of just bit them this year.
Yeah, I mean, Franz and Paolo were both out with the same oblique injury, I believe it was, and then Suggs out for the season, who's an all NBA defensive type of guy. He really doesn't get talked about a lot, but
Yep.
Cole Anthony's been able to step up for them. But I think that if the Celtics do get the Hawks, I think we'll make sure that Bruce is not at the games because he doesn't seem like he's a good luck charm.
Yes, yes, I will not be attending the building, not just because of price, but due to the fact that I want to make sure that this Celtics team can get some wins in the playoffs. And Patrick, lastly, we're going to dive into our predictions, and I kind of got this two ways for these predictions, right? First off, I'm going to ask you, who do you think is going to win this matchup between the Atlanta Hawks and the Orlando Magic? And if so, that means they're going to play the Celtics. So what's your series prediction? And then following that, it's kind of another question on who would you rather see the Celtics play?
Yeah, I think the Magic are gonna pull this one out. They are playing at home. I know it says 7-8 here, but I know the Magic have taken that 7 spot, so I believe they are home. I think it should be really close though. I really do think it's going to be close, but I'd probably rather play the Hawks. I think you definitely do want the lesser of the two, and they don't match up as well as the Magic do. The Magic are a very lengthy team. They are scrappy. They're young, so they do give them problems. But I mean, teams like that are going to get you ready to kind of make that little bit of a run. So sometimes you do want that. So I think realistically, we're going to see the Magic, but I mean the Hawks. I would probably rather play them.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you here. I don't think there's much really to argue in this situation with wanting to see the Atlanta Hawks over the Orlando Magic, just because we've seen the Celtics have these quarrels with this Orlando Magic team in the past over these last couple seasons with them just matching up. Well, you brought up the length, the versatility they have. They have a lot of different lineups, and maybe they could challenge the Celtics a little bit in some of those games, especially if the Celtics were a little bit cold on that offensive side. And with the Hawks as well, I do think that they could give a good matchup, but I just think the Celtics would just over have that experience as well over some of those younger guys to really get through it there. I'll say the Magic are going to win the game as well, just because I think they will match up better than the Hawks. And I'm going to go Celtics versus the Magic. I'll say 5 games for the Celtics in the first round, but I could see it going 6 with how good Orlando has matched up against this team.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, there's really not much else I could say on that because that's definitely what I could see happening easily. I think that the Celtics will have one of those games where they end up blowing a little bit of a lead, and it's an undeserving Magic win, and then they go back home to the Magic, or just like I'm just thinking of all these classic scenarios that the Celtics have been in. So that's what I prepare myself for already, Bruce. So this is what I'm seeing within this Magic little matchup here. But again, I think the Celtics should realistically get it done in 5.
I agree. And not only are the six battle tested from being in these type of scenarios, but you got to be battle tested as well as a fan, Patrick, to really imagine how to get into these scenarios like you just did. So I completely agree with you 100%. We all know that the Celtics can get into these types of situations and have to crawl themselves out. We've seen it in years past, looking back at that Bulls series from a couple of seasons ago, and it's, could always happen and strike with this Celtics squad. But there are other teams, obviously, in that quest for the playoffs. Well, obviously, if the Celtics move on, we'll get into some discussions on the second round there. But first round, kind of preview through, looking at the potential matchups for the Celtics, because regardless of who they play, it could change the intensity, could change, the type of direction that they play and who they play through in those series, all of that jazz, I truly think, within this Celtics squad. So thank you guys for joining this episode here on Celtics Digest, where Patrick and I dove into the potential playoff matchup. As always, let us know your thoughts down below in the comment section on what you guys think on a potential Hawks Magic matchup, them playing each other other. Give us everything that you guys think, and we'll be in contact with the Hawks and Magic creators as well throughout the playoffs. We'll be doing some videos, potential live streams, getting them involved here on the channel and vice versa. So let us know what you guys think. We'll be live once again on Wednesday, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a great rest of your day. Peace out.